She entered a car before the Queen. In 2018, Meghan's first event with the Queen turned into an awkward moment. She actually barged into the car before Her Majesty. The royal aide tried to stop her, but the Queen was kind enough to guide her like a school teacher, telling Meghan to go first so she could take her spot. A close call, but embarrassing nonetheless. Royals are supposed to know, not ask. She walked ahead of the Queen and snatched her flowers. One of Meghan's most shocking moments came when she actually walked in front of the Queen, something royals never, ever do. To make it worse, she even leaned forward and grabbed a bouquet of flowers before Her Majesty could take them. In royal circles, that's the ultimate disrespect. It wasn't just a misstep. It looked like Meghan wanted the spotlight, even if it meant outshining the Queen herself. She attended a royals-only event. In April 2018, Meghan tagged along with Harry to the Commonwealth Youth Forum. The problem is, this event is supposed to be royals only. Meghan wasn't even married yet. I mean, not married to Harry yet, just a fiancé, but she walked in like she owned the place. She and Harry announced the birth of Archie on Instagram. Tradition says the birth of a royal baby gets announced on a golden easel outside Buckingham Palace. Meghan and Harry ditched that and posted on Instagram instead. The family was left embarrassed, while Meghan got the modern, spotlight-grabbing announcement she clearly wanted. She signed an autograph. Royals don't sign autographs. Why? Handwriting can be copied for fraud. But Meghan couldn't resist. When a girl in Wales asked, Meghan wrote, "Hi, Caitlin." She even spelled the name wrong. Cute moment for the child, but another protocol was broken. She wasn't part of the Church of England. Until recently, royals couldn't marry Roman Catholics without losing their place in succession. Meghan went to a Catholic school. Before marrying Harry, she had to be baptized into the Church of England. Yet again, tradition bent just to make things work for Meghan. She talked about Prince Harry in Vanity Fair. Before even getting engaged, Meghan broke the unspoken rule of silence. Royal girlfriends never speak about relationships publicly. But Meghan? She gave Vanity Fair a full love confession. "We're two people who are really happy and in love," she said. Royals cringed. Private life became front-page news because Meghan couldn't resist the spotlight. She wore a dress with a high slit. Royals are expected to dress modestly. Meghan arrived in Australia wearing a dress with a thigh-high slit. Paparazzi loved it. The palace didn't. Another day, another outfit making headlines for the wrong reasons. She wore a super short dress. Then came the Hamilton performance. Meghan wore a tuxedo-style mini dress, showing off her legs again. Royals prefer conservative fashion. Meghan clearly preferred attention. She wore a super short dress again. Even while heavily pregnant, Meghan ignored hemline protocol. On International Women's Day, she showed up in a short black and white dress. Instead of dressing like a traditional duchess, Meghan dressed like, well, Meghan. She was married before. Meghan was divorced before marrying Harry. Old royal rules barred divorced partners from marrying into the family. The Crown even reminded us how messy it got with Wallis Simpson. But Meghan got a pass. Once again, tradition bent to make room for her. She wears crossbody bags. Royals carry clutches for a reason. It keeps their hands occupied and avoids endless handshakes. Meghan ignored that in Edinburgh and wore a crossbody bag instead. With her hands free, she had no excuse to say no to handshakes without being rude, breaking yet another small but important tradition. She carried a tote. In December 2017, Meghan carried a tote bag instead of the traditional clutch. A minor detail, but another moment where she ignored royal tradition. She's worn all black. The Queen disliked black outside of mourning. Meghan ignored this and wore all black outfits multiple times. Stylish for her, but disrespectful for the crown. She wore all black again. In January 2019 in London, Meghan wore a black dress and coat for a royal engagement. The royals wore color. Meghan wore mourning clothes for no reason. She wore ripped jeans. Royals stick to jeans only for very casual moments like walking the dog. But ripped jeans? It's absolutely off-limits. But Meghan strolled around Toronto with Harry in a torn pair anyway. She wore an off-the-shoulder dress. At Trooping the Color, in 2018, Meghan showed up in an off-the-shoulder Carolina Herrera dress. Royals usually keep things modest, especially for a daytime event. Shoulders on display may not seem shocking to us, but for the monarchy, it was another rule ignored. Meghan wasn't there to blend in. She was there to stand out. She wore a deep V-neck. Another event, another fashion shock. Meghan wore an Oscar de la Renta gown with a plunging neckline. Modesty tossed aside again. She wore dark nail polish. Royal women stick to neutral nails. The Queen has worn the same pale shade for decades. Meghan appeared at the Fashion Awards with dark burgundy nails. Cameras loved it. The family didn't. She took her shoes off in public. Royals don't remove shoes, even on beaches. Meghan kicked off her wedges at Bondi Beach in Australia. Tell me, have you seen Princess Catherine's bare feet? Lady Diana wore flats at the beach. Even Princess Diana followed tradition. In 1988, she wore flats with a dress at a beach event in Sydney. Nothing flashy, nothing scandalous. That's the difference. She has a diamond engagement ring. Harry gave Meghan a diamond engagement ring. Beautiful, sure, but unusual for the royals. Traditionally, royal brides wear colored gems. Diana's sapphire, Kate's sapphire, Fergie's ruby. Meghan didn't follow that pattern. Of course, even her ring had to stand out. She wore a sheer dress for her engagement photos. For her engagement photos, Meghan wore a Ralph and Russo ball gown. It looked glamorous, but the sheer fabric was a clear break from tradition. Royal women are expected to dress modestly. Meghan chose Hollywood style instead, and the conservative crowd definitely noticed. She got married on a Saturday. To most people, a weekend wedding sounds normal, but in the royal family, ceremonies traditionally happen during the week. Kate married William on a Friday. Diana married Charles on a Wednesday. Even the Queen married Philip on a Thursday. Meghan broke that pattern with a Saturday wedding, because of course, even her "I do" had to go against tradition. She didn't have a fruitcake at her wedding. For centuries, royal weddings always featured a fruitcake. It was tradition at every big event in England. But Meghan and Harry, they ditched it for a sponge cake with elderflower syrup. It wasn't just light, it was another sign that Meghan had no interest in centuries-old customs. Even the wedding cake had to scream different. She gave a toast at her own wedding. At her wedding, Meghan gave a speech about Harry and how the family welcomed her. Royals don't do that. Even most brides outside the palace don't give speeches. It was unprecedented, but Meghan couldn't resist making her big day just a little more about her. She had a baby shower. Royal women don't throw baby showers. Kate never had one for any of her children. Meghan broke that rule too. She flew to New York for a star-studded celebration hosted by her friends. She tried to play it low-key and athleisure, but let's be honest, there was nothing subtle about it. And it was expensive. And it wasn't just any baby shower, it was a $200,000 spectacle. Hosted by her celebrity friends, including Serena Williams, the party screamed excess. Royal insiders called it over the top, and they weren't wrong. Royals are known for keeping things understated. Meghan turned it into a Hollywood production. She didn't share any details about her birth plan. Royal mothers usually share details about their birth plans with the public. Meghan refused. Instead, she released a statement saying everything would remain private until she and Harry were ready. Well, she announced her pregnancy on Instagram, wore skin-tight dresses during pregnancy, and twerked on camera with a pregnant belly. But yeah, she wanted privacy. She didn't do a Lindo Wing photo shoot. Royal mothers have always posed outside the Lindo Wing after giving birth. Diana did it, Kate did it, it became tradition. Meghan refused. Instead, she and Harry staged photos at St. George's Hall days later. Another royal moment turned into a Meghan-style production. She didn't wear pantyhose. From the engagement photo itself, Meghan broke tradition. She did not wear pantyhose, which the royals see as a must. Meghan treated it like a joke. Kate, Diana, and even the Queen followed it, but Meghan clearly thought she was above it. She didn't wear pantyhose again. One time could be forgiven, but Meghan doubled down when she went bare-legged again at a Hamilton performance. It wasn't an accident. She was proving that she had no intention of following even the simplest royal traditions. She has her own coat of arms. Traditionally, a woman's father receives a coat of arms before marriage. Meghan's father was estranged and didn't even show up at the wedding. Instead of following the rule, the palace gave Meghan her own personal coat of arms, another exception made just for her, bending royal tradition to suit her drama-filled situation. Meghan wore pants. The Queen prefers women in skirts and dresses. Kate follows it. The Queen herself followed it. But Meghan? She walked in with trousers like she was headed to a boardroom meeting. The Queen's dislike for pants didn't stop her. Meghan wore pants again. July 2018. Ireland visit. Meghan doubled down. No skirt, no dress. Another pair of pants. She was sending a message. She wasn't adjusting to the family. The family was expected to adjust to her. Meghan wore pants yet again. September 2018. Child Awards. Meghan showed up in pants yet again. At this point, it wasn't rebellion. It was her signature move. If the Queen had her way, Meghan would have been in dresses. But Meghan was busy making her own fashion rules inside a family that runs on traditions. Meghan celebrated Christmas at Sandringham. Christmas at Sandringham is usually reserved for royals and their spouses. Even Kate, while engaged, wasn't invited until after she married William. But Meghan? She got special treatment in 2018, thanks to Harry begging the Queen. An exception Kate never received. Talk about skipping the line. Meghan held hands with Prince Harry in public. Royals avoid PDA at official events, but Meghan and Harry couldn't keep their hands apart. Hand-holding may look cute to some, but to the monarchy, it looked careless. Instead of keeping it professional, they treated public appearances like date nights. There have been countless times when they forgot they were royals in public. More PDA. Australia, Bondi Beach. Meghan and Harry turned up the heat. Harry's hand on Meghan's thigh during an official event. Cameras caught it, tabloids exploded, and the royal family probably wanted to disappear into the sand. Meghan wore a white wedding dress. Tradition says a bride should only wear white if it's her first marriage. Meghan had already been married once before, yet she still walked down the aisle in a pure white gown. To the royals, it looked less like innocence and more like another staged Hollywood moment. Meghan hid the details of her wedding dress from the Queen. Every royal bride traditionally shares the design of her wedding dress with the Queen before the big day. Meghan refused. She kept the details secret, leaving even Her Majesty in the dark. For the monarchy, that wasn't just unusual, it was disrespectful. Meghan treated the royal wedding like her own personal fashion show, not a state occasion. She was an actress on television. Meghan wasn't just a public figure. She was a TV actress on Suits. Playing Rachel Zane on screen meant she brought Hollywood fame into the palace. Royals are born into the spotlight, but Meghan had to chase it long before joining them. She had a lifestyle blog. Before marrying Harry, Meghan ran The Tig, her personal lifestyle blog. Royals aren't supposed to endorse products or share personal opinions. Meghan did both. Once she got engaged, the blog was shut down, but the archives remain a reminder of her influencer days. She guest-edited British Vogue. In 2019, Meghan became guest editor for British Vogue's September issue. Royals usually appear on the cover, not run the show. Meghan decided to break that too. She went with a collective cover, making a political style statement instead of keeping it neutral. She shares her political views. Legally, royals are supposed to stay neutral because they are a non-political entity. Meghan didn't care. She proudly called herself a feminist and even hinted at being pro-choice. An Irish senator even tweeted about it. The post was later deleted, but the damage was done. Meghan had already broken one of the most serious royal rules. She likes a loose bun. Kate's hair is always perfect, polished, and neat. Meghan? She showed up with messy tendrils falling out of her bun. Royals prefer tidy. Meghan preferred casual. She likes a loose bun again. At Titanic Belfast in 2018, Meghan brought back the undone bun. Royals avoid sloppy looks, but Meghan seems to embrace them. She likes a loose bun yet again. October 2018, another event, another loose bun. Meghan clearly wasn't planning to change her Hollywood style for Windsor. She gives fans hugs. In Edinburgh, Meghan skipped the royal handshake and went straight for a hug. Kate usually limits hugs to children. Meghan? She acts like a celebrity meeting her fans. She hugged Beyoncé. Yes, the moment Meghan hugged Beyoncé went viral. Sure, everyone loves Beyoncé, but royals are supposed to stay professional even with celebrities. I guess if you were a royal, you too would have broken the royal protocol for this. She kissed a fan's hand. South Africa tour. Meghan kissed a little girl's hand when she got nervous to meet her. Yes, it was sweet. But royals don't kiss fans, and many thought that it broke royal protocol. She and Harry gave Archie only 2 names. Royal babies usually have long, traditional names, 3 or even 4. Prince Harry's full name is Henry Charles Albert David. Meghan and Harry ignored that. Their son got just 2. Archie Harrison, and they've been using his last name. Royals don't usually have last names. They're addressed by titles, like Cambridge or Wales. That's why Harry is known simply as Prince Harry or Duke of Sussex. But Archie? He's been called Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. Since he doesn't have a title, the palace broke tradition again. And of course, it happened with Meghan's child. She and Harry christened Archie privately. Royal christenings usually allow photographers to capture moments outside the church. Meghan and Harry shut that down completely. No public access, no traditional images, just 2 carefully chosen photos released later. What should have been a shared royal moment turned into another tightly controlled Meghan production. She and Harry kept Archie's godparents' secret. At royal christenings, godparents' names are always revealed to the public. Meghan and Harry refused. Instead, they released a statement saying the names would remain private. Another long-standing tradition broken, and another example of Meghan keeping control over what the public could and couldn't know. She changed her engagement ring. In June, Meghan stepped out with a noticeably altered engagement ring, plus a new eternity band. For royals, engagement rings are sacred. They stay exactly as they are. But Meghan had hers redesigned. Not just one time, she has actually redesigned it 4 different times. She made a surprise appearance at the US Open. In September, Meghan popped up at the US Open in New York to watch her friend Serena Williams. Royals usually avoid casual surprise appearances, especially at high-profile celebrity events. Meghan couldn't resist. She turned a tennis match into another headline about her. She's keen on surprise appearances. Meghan loves surprise entrances. She even joined Harry at the Red Sox versus Yankees game in London. Sure, fans got excited, but royals don't normally do this. The heavy security risks make it a nightmare. Meghan didn't care. If it gets her in the spotlight, she's there. She and Harry ditched their HRH titles while on tour. During their South African tour, Meghan and Harry told fans to drop the HRH and just call them by their names. Royals never do that. The titles are sacred, part of the institution. But Meghan and Harry tossed them aside like props, another blatant rejection of protocol. They didn't care about curtsying either. On their African tour, Meghan and Harry ignored the curtsy tradition completely. Royals are expected to follow it, especially on official trips. But the couple tossed the royal handbook aside once again. No bows, no curtsies, no respect for protocol. She gave a personal interview. Royals never speak openly about personal struggles, but Meghan and Harry sat down and shared their problems with the world. She was demanding privacy while spilling all the personal matters at the same time. Please explain to me how that works. She stepped down as a senior royal. On January 8th, 2020, Meghan and Harry announced they were quitting their roles as senior royals. They claimed they wanted financial independence and planned to split their time between the UK and North America. The Queen was far from pleased. This wasn't just bending protocol, it was tearing the rulebook in half and walking over it. She sat with her legs crossed. Royal women are supposed to sit with their knees together and ankles crossed. Meghan couldn't care less. She sat however she wanted, looking like she was at a Hollywood talk show instead of a royal event. For the family, it was another reminder that Meghan doesn't respect the rules. She contoured her cheeks. Royals keep their makeup soft and natural. Meghan, on the other hand, went full Hollywood glam with heavy contour. Her cheekbones looked carved out, while the other royals looked plain. It screamed, "Look at me," more than "I respect tradition." She wore Dior to Archie's christening. At christenings, royal mothers usually support British designers. Kate always wore Alexander McQueen for her kids. But Meghan? She showed up in Dior, a French brand. A royal moment turned into a fashion show for her favorite designer. Subtle insult to the crown? And there you have it. Every royal protocol Meghan Markle managed to break while she was still inside the palace walls. And let's be honest, I probably missed a few because she broke so many in such a short time. It's hard to keep track. Let me know in the comments what I missed. What's even crazier? This list doesn't even cover what she's done after stepping away from royal life. That's a whole other saga waiting to be told. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video.